"Excuse me, can I sit here?" "There's nowhere else." The 12-year-old girl stood beside the table, balancing on crutches, her prosthetic leg visible beneath worn jeans. The coffee shop was packed, every seat taken, conversations buzzing. Jeremy Foster looked up from his laptop, papers spread across the entire table for four, and his response was immediate and cold. "I'm working." "Find somewhere else." Amber Chen's face fell. She nodded once, trying to hide the hurt, and turned to limp away on her crutches. But from the bathroom doorway, 7-year-old Lily Foster stood frozen, her small face horrified as she watched her father turn away a girl who clearly needed help. At the next table, a woman named Patricia glared at Jeremy with pure disgust. He didn't notice. He was already back to his screen, back to his stress, back to drowning. Before we continue, comment below where you're watching from. Now let's see what brought Jeremy to this breaking point. Jeremy Foster was 34 years old and barely holding himself together. He was an architect, a single father, and a widower drowning in responsibilities he never thought he'd face alone. 2 years ago, his wife Monica died in a car accident. A drunk driver. One moment of someone else's selfishness took away the woman he loved, the mother of his child, his partner in everything. Now he was raising Lily by himself, and some days, most days, he felt like he was failing at every single thing. Today was one of those days. He had a critical deadline for a project that could save his struggling firm. He was behind on the mortgage. Bills were piling up. Grief had emptied his bank account along with his heart. He'd brought Lily to the coffee shop because he'd promised her hot chocolate while he worked, and he was trying, desperately trying, to be both mother and father to a little girl who missed her mom every single day. Jeremy used to be kind. Monica always said he had the biggest heart of anyone she knew. But grief and stress had worn him down to survival mode. He wasn't processing his pain. He was just trying to get through each day without breaking. So when that girl approached asking for a seat, he snapped without thinking. He didn't see a child who needed help. He just saw another interruption he couldn't handle. Amber Chen was 12 years old and carried more grief than most adults ever would. She'd lost her leg in a car accident 2 years ago. But that wasn't the worst part. She'd lost her parents that night too. Both of them. Gone in an instant. Now she lived with her grandmother, Helen, and they were barely scraping by. The accident had been caused by a drunk driver who walked away with minor injuries while Amber's entire world shattered. Kids at school avoided her. They stared at her prosthetic leg. They didn't know how to talk to her, so they didn't talk at all. She was lonely, isolated in her grief and her difference. Today was her grandmother's birthday, and Amber had been saving every dollar she could. She'd come to the coffee shop to count her money, to see what kind of gift she could afford. $14.37. Not much, but it was all she had. When she walked in and saw the crowded shop, she felt her usual anxiety. But then she noticed a little girl at a table, and something about that child's expression caught her attention. Sadness. A kind of sadness Amber recognized because she saw it in her own mirror every morning. She wanted to sit near that little girl, maybe find some company, maybe feel less alone. Lily Foster was 7 years old and missed her mother with an ache that never went away. She tried so hard to be good for her daddy, to not add to his stress, to not cry when she felt sad because she knew he was sad too. She watched her father carefully, trying to learn how to be in this new, broken world. Her mommy had taught her to be kind, to help people, to see when someone was hurting. But lately, her daddy seemed to have forgotten those lessons. Today, when Lily came out of the bathroom and saw her father turn away that girl on crutches, something inside her knew it was wrong. She ran after Amber, her small voice calling out, "Wait! You can sit with us." Amber stopped, turned, hesitant. She looked back at Jeremy. Lily's father sighed, his irritation barely concealed. "Lily," I said no. But Lily's voice shook with a courage she didn't know she had. "But Mommy always said we help people who need help." Jeremy froze. The mention of Monica cut through his fog of stress like a knife. Lily walked to Amber and took her hand. "Please sit. My daddy's just having a bad day." Amber sat cautiously at the very edge of the chair, trying to take up as little space as possible. Jeremy returned to his laptop, determinedly ignoring both girls. But Lily wasn't done. With the innocent curiosity of a child, she asked Amber about her leg. "Does it hurt?" Amber smiled sadly. "Not anymore. I lost it in a car accident. My parents too. They died." Lily's eyes went wide with recognition. "My mommy died in a car accident." Jeremy's fingers stopped moving on the keyboard. He didn't look up, but he was listening now, every muscle tense. The two girls began talking, comparing their grief in the way only children who've lost everything can. Amber spoke quietly. 2 years ago, December 8th, Highway 15, it happened so fast." Jeremy's head snapped up, his face drained of color. "What did you say?" Amber looked at him, confused by his intensity. "The accident. December 8th, 2 years ago, Highway 15. That's when it happened." Jeremy couldn't breathe. December 8th, Highway 15. That was the night Monica died. That was the exact date, the exact location. He stared at this 12-year-old girl, and suddenly every news report from that horrible night came flooding back. 2 vehicles, a family of 4 in one car. Only the daughter survived. A woman in the other car didn't make it. This girl he'd just turned away. She'd been in the other car, same drunk driver, same night, same tragedy. She'd lost everything the same moment he had. If this story is touching your heart, subscribe to Love is Kindness for more stories about unexpected connections and second chances. Now let's see what Jeremy does with this devastating realization. Jeremy couldn't speak. His throat had closed completely. Amber continued, not realizing the bomb she'd just dropped. "I was in the back seat. My parents were in front. We were going to my sister's recital. She would have been first chair violin. She was only 14. Jeremy remembered now. The news reports he'd barely been able to watch through his grief. 2 vehicles, a family of 4, 2 parents, 2 daughters. Only the younger daughter survived. He'd been so consumed by his own loss, he hadn't thought about the other family, the other survivors. But this was that child, sitting at his table. The girl he'd just cruelly turned away. "The driver fell asleep," Amber said quietly. "They said he'd been drinking. Had 3 DUIs already. My sister died on impact. My parents held on for a few hours, but..." Her voice trailed off. Jeremy felt tears streaming down his face. The same man, the same drunk driver who'd killed Monica had killed this girl's entire family. Jeremy closed his laptop and pushed it aside, all his deadlines suddenly meaningless. "I'm so sorry," he whispered, his voice breaking. Amber looked confused. "For what?" "For telling you to leave. For being cruel." Jeremy took a shaky breath. "My wife died that night. Same accident. Monica, you lost your parents, your sister, and I turned you away." Amber's eyes went wide with recognition and shock. "The other car. I remember now." The news said a woman. That she had a little girl. Her gaze moved to Lily, who was watching her father with worried eyes, not fully understanding but seeing his pain clearly. "That was your mommy?" Jeremy nodded, unable to speak. The coffee shop seemed to have gone quiet around them. Or maybe Jeremy just couldn't hear anything over the roar of emotion in his ears. 2 survivors of the same tragedy, connected by the worst night of their lives, meeting by pure chance in a crowded coffee shop because a 12-year-old girl needed a place to sit. "I remember," Amber whispered. "The news said there was another car, a woman who didn't make it. That was her?" Jeremy's voice was barely audible. "Monica, my wife, Lily's mother." The silence that followed was heavy with shared loss, with the impossible weight of grief that both of them carried every single day. At the next table, Patricia was quietly crying, having overheard every word. Other nearby customers had gone still, listening, witnessing this moment of 2 broken people finding each other. Amber started talking, the words spilling out like she'd been holding them in for too long. I live with my grandma now. She tries so hard, but it's not the same. Kids at school don't know how to talk to me. They stare at my leg. They whisper. I eat lunch alone every day. Her voice cracked. Sometimes I wish I'd died too, so I could be with them, so I wouldn't be so alone. Jeremy's heart shattered all over again, but before he could respond, Lily grabbed Amber's hand fiercely. Don't say that. I'm glad you're here. If you weren't here, I wouldn't have met you, and I think we were supposed to meet you. Jeremy moved to sit beside Amber, his laptop and papers forgotten. I've been so angry, he said quietly. So buried in my own pain, I forgot how to be human. I turned away someone who needed kindness because I'm drowning. But you needed a seat, and I had 4 empty chairs. He looked at her directly. I had room, I just didn't make room. Amber's eyes were wet. It's okay. Everyone's fighting something. You didn't know. Jeremy shook his head firmly. No, it's not okay. My daughter just reminded me who I'm supposed to be, who Monica would want me to be, and I'm sorry for being cruel, for forgetting that everyone is carrying something heavy. He took a breath, making a decision. What were you doing here today, besides looking for a seat? Amber hesitated, then pulled out a small zippered pouch from her backpack. She opened it to show a small pile of coins and crumpled bills. $14.37. It's my grandma's birthday. I was counting my money to see what I could buy her. She does so much for me. I wanted to get her something nice. Her voice was small. I was going to get her flowers from the grocery store. Jeremy looked at Lily, then back at Amber, and something shifted in his chest. The weight he'd been carrying didn't disappear, but it felt shared now, lighter somehow. What if we helped you find something better? The 3 of us. We could go together, find something your grandmother would love. Amber looked up at him, hope and disbelief warring on her face. Really? Why would you do that? Jeremy smiled, a real smile, the first in longer than he could remember. Because 2 years ago, someone's cruelty took everything from both of us. And maybe, just maybe, a little kindness can start to heal what was broken. The 3 of them walked into a small gift shop 2 blocks away, Amber moving carefully on her crutches while Lily held her free hand. Jeremy guided them through the aisles, helping Amber look at different options, finally stopping at a beautiful silver photo frame with delicate flowers etched along the edges. For you and your grandmother, he said softly. To start making new memories together. Amber's eyes filled with tears. I can't afford this. It's too much. Jeremy picked it up and headed to the counter. Then it's a good thing I'm buying it, Amber protested, but Jeremy was firm, kind, insistent. Lily picked out a card with a butterfly on it and helped Amber write a message inside. For Grandma Helen, thank you for loving me when I didn't think I could be loved anymore. Happy birthday. Love, Amber. The 3 of them stood together at the counter, and for the first time in 2 years, Jeremy heard himself laugh. Really laugh. The sound felt foreign but right. Jeremy drove Amber home, following her directions to a small, modest house with a garden that someone clearly tended with love, despite limited resources. When the door opened, Helen Chen stood there, 68 years old, her face lined with exhaustion and grief but her eyes still warm. Grandma, Amber said, smiling. This is Jeremy and Lily. They helped me get your present. Helen's gaze moved to Jeremy, and something flickered in her expression. Jeremy Foster, she said quietly. I know that name. She disappeared inside for a moment and returned with a yellowed newspaper clipping. I kept this. From the accident. You lost your wife. Jeremy nodded, his throat tight. And you lost your son, your daughter-in-law, your granddaughter. Helen's eyes filled with tears. The same man took everything from both of us. They stood there on the porch, 2 families connected by unimaginable tragedy, and Helen made a decision. Please, come in, have tea. Let's not stand here with all this pain between us. Let's sit with it together. Inside Helen's small living room, Jeremy and Helen talked while Lily and Amber played with old toys Helen had saved from Amber's childhood. The adults shared their grief, their struggles, their loneliness. "I thought I was the only one who couldn't move forward," Jeremy admitted. "I've been so isolated in my pain." Helen nodded. "Me too. Some days I don't even know how I'm still standing." They watched the girls together, really watched them. Lily was giggling, showing Amber a silly dance. Amber was laughing, the sound bright and genuine. "She hasn't had a friend since the accident," Helen said quietly. "Kids avoid her. They don't know what to say." Jeremy's voice was thick with emotion. "Neither has Lily. They don't know how to talk to her about her mother dying." Helen looked at him. "Maybe they needed each other. Maybe we all did." 3 months passed, and everything changed. Jeremy, Lily, Amber, and Helen became an extended family built not from blood but from shared loss and chosen love. They had weekly dinners, switching between houses. They spent holidays together, filling the empty chairs with people who understood. Jeremy helped Amber with her homework, particularly math, which had always been hard for her. Helen babysat Lily when Jeremy had late work meetings. Both families were healing, together, in ways neither could have managed alone. When Lily had her school dance recital, Amber sat in the audience between Helen and Jeremy, cheering louder than anyone when Lily took the stage. After the performance, Lily ran straight to Amber, still in her costume. "You're like my big sister now," she said, throwing her arms around Amber's neck. Amber hugged her back fiercely, tears streaming down her face. "You're like my little sister." Jeremy and Helen stood watching, both crying happy tears, witnessing something beautiful growing from something that had been so broken. 6 months after that first meeting, Jeremy finished building something he'd been working on for weeks. A memorial bench at the accident site on Highway 15. He'd carved it himself, poured all his grief and love into the wood. The plaque read, "In memory of those we lost. In celebration of those who remain, love connects us all." All 4 of them stood there together. Amber placed flowers gently on the ground. Jeremy's arm was around Lily. Helen's hand rested on Amber's shoulder. They weren't the families they'd lost. But they were a family. Found, chosen, built from the ashes of shared tragedy. 6 months after that, they sat together at the same coffee shop, at the same table where it all began. Amber looked at Jeremy with a small smile. "Remember when you told me to find another seat?" Jeremy winced. "My worst moment, and my most important lesson." Lily looked up at her father. "What lesson, Daddy?" Jeremy took a breath. "That everyone you meet is fighting a battle you know nothing about, and sometimes making room at your table changes everything. Not just for them, for you too." As if on cue, a young man with a visible disability approached their table. "Excuse me, is this seat taken?" Before Jeremy could respond, Lily jumped up with a huge smile. "No, please sit with us. We have lots of room." The young man smiled, relieved, and sat down. Jeremy caught Amber's eye across the table, and they both smiled. The cycle of kindness, continuing. The lesson, learned and lived. "I almost missed the greatest blessing of my grief," Jeremy reflected later. "Because I was so focused on my own pain, I couldn't see someone else's. Amber taught me that healing doesn't happen in isolation. It happens when we make room for each other, when we choose connection over convenience, when we remember that the people we push away might be exactly the people we need." A one-legged girl asked a single dad if she could sit down, and he almost said no. But his daughter reminded him of the man he used to be, the man his wife would want him to be. And in that moment of choosing kindness over convenience, 2 broken families found each other and became whole again. Sometimes the people we almost turn away are the ones who save us. And sometimes, all it takes to change everything is making room at your table for someone who needs a place to belong. What did you think of Jeremy and Amber's story? Rate it from 0 to 10 inches, the comments below. And if this story reminded you that everyone is fighting battles we can't see, Subscribe to Love is Kindness for more stories about compassion, second chances, and unexpected family. Thank you for watching, and remember, always make room at your table. You never know who might need it, or how much you might need them too.